These are the assembly instructions for a gear sled. The first thing you'll need to do is remove the stash collar. It's usually easiest to slide it off from the bottom, but you can take it off from the top. Take it off, set it aside, and then you need to open up the sled. So kind of move the cords out of the way, and you're going to need to pop open the stern. Take the stern cord, make sure it's nice and tight, and you can squeeze the corners while you tighten the cord, just to make sure everything's nice and tight, and pull the little cord lock by pushing down the button, slide it in so that the cord stays nice and tight, and you're going to need to tuck the end of the stern cord into one of the pockets because you don't want it dragging in the snow. The next step is to pull open the bow. So when you pull open the bow, it's probably going to want to pop back, but you can take the bungee and the little carabiner, the mini carabiner. You might want to remove the fix-it clip and put that on your keychain or somewhere else just so it doesn't get in the way. Take the bungee and put it around the little mini carabiner, and the bow will stay open. Next, you're going to pull on the bow cords. You're going to want to tighten them up. Make sure it's nice and tight. They should stay that way. If not, you can pull the little tail ends of that. And as an option, if you have the snow swarm box, you can clip that on the stern. You might need to raise the stern cord on the sled just so the box doesn't drag in the snow. And if you want, you can even turn the little carabiners a one turn just to make it a little bit tighter, and that'll also raise it up a little bit. You can kind of play with the cord just to make it a little bit tighter and raise it up a bit. The box is a good thing for lights. You can add an optional LED light if you want to be seen at night. And although that's made for the translucent box, the LED light is visible through all of the colored boxes. It's not as bright, but you can see it at night pretty well. Okay, that's the assembly instructions for putting it together. Now you're going to need to take it apart when you're all done. So obviously the first step when you're all finished is to remove the snow swarm box if it's so equipped. So take that off. Once you've taken off the snow swarm box, you should be able to flip around your gear sled. You need to disconnect the bungee from the mini carabiner. And after you've disconnected it, be sure to place the mini carabiner and the bungee on the outside of the sled. That'll just make it easier when you fold up the sled and put it away. That will then allow you to pop back in the bow like that. And you turn around and release the cord lock on the stern. Press in the little button on the cord lock and pull it away. That will allow you to fold up the stern. So the first time you do this will be a little bit tricky, but if you look to see that the corner of the stern and the corner of the bow folds into the crease between the side of the sled and the bottom of the sled, then the whole sled will pretty much fold together pretty well. So it'll just be tricky the first time you do it. After that, you'll get it. It's pretty simple. Hold one side with one hand, and then you flip around the sled and do the same thing on the other side. Now, after you do this, you're going to be tempted to fold it together like a book. Do not fold it together like a book. It needs to fold opposite, so that when you look at it from the side, it makes this W shape. Once you have the W, you know you've done it right. And you can hold the W closed with the bungee, or you can use the stash collar. And one way to keep from losing the stash collar when you're going on a long expedition is you can put the bungee through one of the holes in the stash collar and keep the stash collar inside the sled just to make sure you don't lose it. But for the stash collar, it's better probably not to use the bungee if you have the stash collar. It just keeps from overstretching the bungee. Put it in from the bottom. So just squeeze your gear sled together and put it in from the bottom. You should be able to use your fingers just to kind of pull open the stash collar to fit it in, and the stash collar will hold your sled together. Once you've slid it all the way in, and then you move it all the way up, put your bungee and your ropes and all of that inside the pockets of the sled, and that'll just make a nice tidy package. And you can then stash your gear sled anywhere, put it inside your backpack, trunk of your car, your closet, whatever. You're all done. Thank you.